The Stoic Blueprint for Unstoppable Concentration. 10 Ancient Laws to Master Your Mind, Warriors. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share will either awaken something dormant within you or confirm what your soul already knows. Right now, in this exact moment, there's a battle happening inside your mind. It's not a battle against external enemies or visible threats. It's a war for your attention, for your clarity, for your ability to direct your mental energy toward what truly matters. And here's the harsh truth most people never face. You're losing this battle every single day. Your concentration has been hijacked, not by force but by design. Every app on your phone, every algorithm you encounter, every notification that buzzes, they're all engineered by teams of brilliant minds whose sole purpose is to fragment your focus and scatter your mental power. They've studied human psychology, identified your weaknesses, and created systems that exploit them perfectly. And while you think you're just checking your phone or scrolling for a few minutes, you're actually surrendering the one resource that determines the quality of your entire existence: your ability to concentrate. The ancient Stoics faced a different world but the same fundamental challenge. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire during some of its darkest periods. Wars raged at the borders. Plagues swept through cities, political betrayals threatened from within. Yet in his private writings, he never complained about external chaos. Instead, he focused obsessively on one thing: maintaining clarity of mind amidst the storm. He wrote to himself, "Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness." This wasn't just advice for ruling an empire. This was the foundation for living a meaningful life regardless of circumstances. Epictetus, who began his life in chains as a slave, discovered something that his masters, with all their freedom, never understood. True liberty doesn't come from external conditions. It comes from the ability to control your own attention. He taught his students that while they couldn't control what happened around them, they possessed absolute sovereignty over where they placed their focus. And that sovereignty, that power to direct mental energy consciously, was the only freedom that truly mattered. Seneca, despite his immense wealth and influence, regularly withdrew from the distractions of Roman society to practice what he called mental training. He would imagine worst-case scenarios, not to torture himself, but to prepare his mind. He would voluntarily live simply to remind himself that his peace didn't depend on luxury. He understood that concentration wasn't a natural state. It was a cultivated skill that required daily discipline and constant vigilance. Today, I'm going to reveal 10 profound laws that these ancient masters used to develop concentration, so powerful it seemed almost superhuman. These aren't abstract philosophical concepts. They're practical techniques that you can implement immediately to reclaim your mental sovereignty and multiply your ability to focus. Each law builds upon the previous one, creating an integrated system for mental mastery that the Stoics perfected over centuries. But before we begin this journey together, I need you to understand something crucial. Information without implementation is just entertainment. You can watch this entire video, feel inspired, nod along with every point, and then return to exactly the same scattered existence you've been living. That changes nothing. Or you can make a different choice right now. You can commit to actually applying what resonates with you, testing these ancient laws against your modern challenges, and discovering for yourself whether they work. If you're serious about transforming your ability to concentrate, prove it to yourself by hitting that like button right now. Not for me, not for the algorithm, but as a personal declaration that you're done being a slave to distraction. And if this message speaks to something deep within you, if you're ready to reclaim the mental power you've been giving away, write this in the comments. I am the master of my attention. Subscribe to this channel because we're building something rare here, a community of people who refuse to surrender their minds to chaos. These 10 laws follow a specific sequence. Each one prepares you for the next. Skip ahead and you'll miss essential foundations. Ignore the order and you'll wonder why the changes aren't sticking. Stay with me through all 10, and by the end you'll possess a complete framework for concentration that can withstand any distraction. Your journey toward unshakable focus begins now. The law of ruthless prioritization. Your concentration fails not because you're weak, but because you're trying to focus on everything simultaneously. The human mind wasn't designed for parallel processing of multiple important tasks. It was designed for sequential mastery, giving complete attention to one thing, then moving to the next. Yet modern life constantly demands that you split your focus, making you perpetually busy but rarely effective. The Stoics called this the tyranny of the urgent, allowing what's merely pressing to crowd out what's genuinely important. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire that spanned continents, yet he constantly reminded himself to focus only on what was essential. He would ask before every task, "Is this necessary?" If it wasn't directly aligned with his core responsibilities or values, he eliminated it without guilt. This wasn't about being cold or uncaring. It was about recognizing that every yes to something trivial is an automatic no to something significant. Your attention is finite. Treating it as infinite is the fastest path to complete ineffectiveness. Think about your typical day honestly. How much of your mental energy goes to things that genuinely matter versus things that merely feel urgent? How many tasks on your list are actually moving you toward your most important goals versus just creating the illusion of productivity? How much of your concentration is consumed by other people's priorities, by digital noise, by activities that you'll barely remember next week? If you're like most people, the percentage is sobering. You're scattering your mental power across dozens of directions when focusing it on just 3 or 4 would multiply your results exponentially. Ruthless prioritization begins with brutal honesty. You must identify your true priorities, not the ones you think you should have, but the ones that actually align with who you want to become and what you want to create. For most people, these priorities cluster around health, relationships, meaningful work, and personal growth. Everything else, and I mean everything, is secondary at best and disposable at worst. Once you've identified your true priorities, you must build your days around them, protecting them from the constant invasion of the merely urgent. Here's how you implement this law starting today. Each morning before you do anything else, write down the 3 most important outcomes for your day. Not 30 tasks, 3 outcomes. These should be things that if accomplished would make the day genuinely successful, regardless of what else happens. Everything else on your list is optional. This simple practice forces you to distinguish between what matters and what merely fills time. Then structure your day so that your peak mental energy goes to these 3 priorities, not to email, not to meetings, not to reactive tasks, but to what actually moves your life forward. Second, practice the art of elimination. Look at your current commitments, your habits, your regular activities. Ask yourself about each one. If I wasn't already doing this, would I choose to start it today knowing what I know now? If the answer is no, that commitment needs to be eliminated or at least drastically reduced. The Stoics believe that we don't have too little time. We waste too much time on things that don't deserve it. Every hour you reclaim from low-value activities is an hour you can redirect toward what genuinely matters. Third, create what the Stoics called boundaries of necessity. These are clear lines that protect your most important work from invasion. Maybe it's the first 3 hours of your day are completely unavailable for meetings or messages. Maybe it's that weekends are protected for relationships and rest, not for catching up on work. Maybe it's that certain types of requests automatically get declined without consideration. These boundaries feel uncomfortable initially because you've been conditioned to believe that availability equals value. But the opposite is true. Your value increases when you concentrate your time and energy on fewer, more important things. Fourth, embrace the power of no. Every request for your time and attention should be evaluated against your true priorities. If it doesn't clearly serve them, your default answer should be no. You don't need elaborate explanations or apologies. A simple, "that doesn't align with my current priorities," is sufficient. The people who respect you will understand. The people who don't respect your boundaries are exactly why you need them. Remember, every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something that matters. When you master ruthless prioritization, something remarkable happens. Your concentration naturally deepens because you're not constantly being pulled in multiple directions. Your results multiply because your energy is focused rather than scattered. Your sense of control increases because you're living according to your values, rather than reacting to everyone else's demands. This isn't selfishness. This is wisdom. The Stoics understood that you can't serve others effectively when you've dispersed your power completely. Concentrate your energy on what truly matters, and everything else either takes care of itself or reveals itself as unnecessary. The law of environmental design. Your ability to concentrate isn't just determined by willpower. It's largely shaped by your surroundings. You cannot build deep focus in an environment constantly engineered to distract you. It's like trying to sleep in a nightclub or meditate during a thunderstorm. The environment overwhelms intention every time. The Stoics recognized this fundamental truth. While they believed in developing internal strength, they also practiced environmental wisdom, deliberately choosing and shaping their surroundings to support their mental discipline. Epictetus taught his students to be selective about the company they kept, not out of arrogance but out of recognition that other people's energy and priorities inevitably influence your own. If you surround yourself with distracted, scattered people, maintaining focus becomes exponentially harder. If your physical space is chaotic and cluttered, your mind will mirror that chaos. If your digital environment is filled with temptation and interruption, your concentration will constantly fragment. You're not weak for being influenced by your environment. You're human. The wise response isn't to rely solely on willpower. It's to design an environment where focus becomes the path of least resistance. Think about your current workspace right now. Is it designed for deep concentration, or does it invite distraction? Is your phone within arm's reach, ready to interrupt at any moment? Are multiple tabs open on your computer, each one a potential rabbit hole? Is your space cluttered with visual noise that keeps your mind from settling? Most people try to concentrate in environments specifically designed to prevent concentration. Then they blame themselves for lacking discipline when the real problem is environmental sabotage. Environmental design for concentration operates on several levels. Physical environment is the first and most obvious. Your workspace should be clean, organized, and purpose-specific. When you sit in this space, your brain should automatically associate it with focused work, not with entertainment or distraction. Remove anything that doesn't directly serve your current priority. This includes decorations, papers, devices, anything that creates visual or mental clutter. The Stoics practice simplicity not as aesthetic preference but as concentration strategy. Less environmental noise means more mental clarity. Digital environment is perhaps even more critical in modern life. Every device, every app, every account represents either a tool that serves your priorities or a trap that steals your attention. Your phone should be in a different room during focus time, or at minimum in airplane mode with all notifications disabled. Your computer should have only the applications and tabs necessary for your current task. Your email should be checked at designated times, not constantly monitored. Social media should be accessible only from specific devices at specific times, never available for impulse checking. These barriers might seem inconvenient initially, but that's exactly the point. You're creating friction between yourself and distraction, while creating smooth paths toward concentration. Social environment matters profoundly as well. The people you spend time with either support your focus or undermine it. Those who respect your need for concentrated work time, who understand when you're unavailable, who value depth over constant availability. These people support your concentration. Those who demand constant accessibility, who interrupt without consideration, who don't respect boundaries, they erode your ability to focus regardless of their intentions. You don't need to cut people from your life, but you do need to establish clear boundaries about when and how you're available. Temporal environment is about structuring your time to support concentration. The Stoics believed in rhythm and routine, not because they were rigid, but because routine eliminates decision fatigue and creates automatic focus triggers. When you always do your most important work during the same time block each day, your mind begins entering focus mode automatically when that time arrives. When you have consistent routines for beginning and ending work, for transitions between tasks, for rest and renewal, you eliminate the constant micro-decisions that drain mental energy. Here's how to implement environmental design immediately. First, create a dedicated focus space. Even if it's just a specific corner of a room, this space should be associated only with concentrated work. Train your brain by never using this space for entertainment or distraction. Second, implement a phone protocol. Your phone should never be visible during focus time. Put it in another room, in a drawer, anywhere that creates physical distance. The mere presence of your phone reduces concentration even when it's off and face down. Research confirms what the Stoics intuited. Proximity to distraction weakens focus even when you're not actively engaging with it. Third, use website blockers and app limits ruthlessly during focus time. Make it actually difficult to access distracting sites and applications. The goal isn't to test your willpower constantly. The goal is to remove the option entirely during certain hours. Fourth, establish social boundaries clearly. Let people know when you're available and when you're not. Use do not disturb modes. Set up auto responses. Communicate your focus times. People will adjust to your boundaries far more easily than you expect, especially when they see the quality of your work improve. Fifth, design your environment with sensory consideration. What you see, hear, and feel all affect concentration. Some people focus better with background sounds, others need complete silence. Some need warm lighting, others prefer brightness. Experiment to discover your optimal conditions, then replicate them consistently. The Stoics believed in knowing yourself deeply. That self-knowledge included understanding your own optimal conditions for mental performance. When you master environmental design, concentration stops being a constant battle against surroundings and becomes the natural state supported by everything around you. You're not fighting your environment. You're leveraging it. This is the difference between swimming against the current and riding with it. Same effort, exponentially different results. The law of singular immersion. The modern world has convinced you that multitasking is a skill to develop and celebrate. You've been taught to juggle multiple priorities simultaneously, to respond to messages while working on projects, to consume content while exercising, to be everywhere at once. But this is a lie that's destroying your ability to do anything with genuine excellence. The Stoics knew what neuroscience is now proving. The human brain cannot truly focus on multiple complex tasks simultaneously. What you call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and every switch costs you mental energy and performance quality. Seneca observed people in ancient Rome who were constantly busy yet accomplished nothing of substance. He wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." When you divide your attention, you don't experience multiple things fully. You experience everything partially, superficially, incompletely. You collect fragments of experience without depth, moments without meaning, efforts without mastery. The result is a life that feels perpetually busy yet strangely empty, constantly in motion yet never arriving anywhere significant. Singular immersion is the opposite approach. It's the practice of giving your complete, undivided attention to one thing at a time, fully inhabiting each moment and each task, without fragmenting yourself across multiple directions. When you eat, you just eat. When you work, you just work. When you're with someone, you're completely with them. This isn't about speed or efficiency in the conventional sense. It's about depth, quality, and presence. And paradoxically, this focused approach actually produces better results faster than scattered multitasking ever. Could think about the difference in quality between reading a book while checking your phone periodically versus reading with complete absorption. Between having a conversation while half watching television versus giving someone your full presence. Between working on a project with multiple interruptions versus working in unbroken concentration. The difference isn't just quantitative, it's qualitative. Singular immersion allows you to reach levels of understanding, connection, and creation that fragmented attention can never access. The Stoics practiced singular immersion as a form of respect. Respect for the task at hand, respect for the people you're with, respect for your own capacity for excellence. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to act each moment as if it were his last, not to create anxiety, but to ensure he gave each moment its due attention. He understood that treating moments casually while waiting for some future moment to really matter is a guaranteed path to regret. Every moment deserves your full presence because every moment is your life actually happening. Here's how to cultivate singular immersion in your daily existence. First, practice the sacred pause. Before transitioning between activities, stop completely for just 10 seconds. Close your eyes, take a conscious breath, and set your intention for the next activity. This pause breaks the momentum of scattered attention and allows you to gather your focus before directing it fully toward what comes next. Without this pause, you carry the previous task's energy into the next one, creating a cumulative fragmentation throughout your day. Second, establish clear boundaries around focused time blocks. When you're working on something important, eliminate all possibility of interruption. Close the door, disable notifications, put devices away, use tools that block distracting websites. Create a temporary reality where the only thing that exists is you and your current task. This might feel extreme initially, but extreme focus produces extreme results. The Stoics weren't interested in mediocrity. Neither should you be. Third, practice presence in mundane activities as training. You don't need to wait for important tasks to practice singular immersion. Every activity offers an opportunity for training. When you wash dishes, fully experience washing dishes. When you walk somewhere, actually walk instead of scrolling your phone. When you eat, taste your food instead of consuming content simultaneously. These mundane moments are your gym for concentration. The ability to focus completely on washing dishes transfers directly to your ability to focus completely on meaningful work. Fourth, resist the urge to check results constantly while working. This is a subtle form of multitasking that most people don't recognize. They work for a few minutes, check email, work a bit more, check social media, continue working, check metrics. This constant checking fragments your immersion and prevents you from entering deep focus states. When you commit to a work block, commit fully. Check results after, not during. Trust the process of immersion to produce better outcomes than anxious monitoring ever could. Fifth, embrace boredom as a doorway to depth. Our addiction to constant stimulation has made us terrified of boredom. The moment anything feels slightly unstimulating, we reach for our phones. But boredom is actually the threshold you must cross to reach states of deep concentration and creative insight. The Stoics spent significant time in what we would call boredom, simply sitting with their thoughts, walking without input, reflecting without distraction. In that space of understimulation, the mind settles and depth becomes possible. When you master singular immersion, everything in your life improves simultaneously. Your work becomes better because you're bringing full attention to it. Your relationships deepen because people feel genuinely seen by you. Your experiences become richer because you're actually present for them. Your sense of time expands because you're inhabiting moments fully, rather than skimming across their surface. This is the paradox the Stoics understood. By narrowing your focus to one thing at a time, you actually experience more of life, not less.